From outside Liberia's capital, the pleasant good morning and welcome to Fuga News War. 30 minutes of news presentations about Liberia and Africa holding our one war. My name is Lyndon Tobango in this segment of news presentation. And yet our top stories. President Bouakai calls for African unity and accountability at Lomé Peace Forum. Senator Samuel Kogaslam VP Cone accuses him of manipulating Nimba politics. Stam demand dismissal of I.G. Coleman over cold-blooded killing of mentally ill man. Traditional Council of Nimba County condemned Senator Koga for branding areas of so-called chiefs. And away from Liberia, youth-led protests rocked Madagascar as unrest deepens. These plus many more development are our package. We're taking a short break. Upon our return, we bring you our news bulletin. Welcome back and thanks for joining us, Musa Sherry, with our news bulletin. Good morning, Musa.
Good morning, Lindo. President Joseph Boakai has described reconciliations and justice as essential pillars for sustainable peace and for fostering grassroots-driven solutions across the African continent. Speaking at the Second London Peace and Security Forum, President Boakai drew parallels to Liberia's in pursuit of healing and stability, reflecting on the nation's post-conflict journey. The Liberian chief executive issues a clarion call for African nations to confront their security challenges, include unconstitutional changes of government to unified and coordinated African strategies, and highlighted the critical roles of ECOWAS and the African Union in resolving domestic and regional conflict as well as in preventing instability. President Bouakai also named corruption, exclusions, and weak institutions as root cause of conflict, noting that this administration is implementing wide-ranging reforms to promote transparency, accountability, and inclusive governance. Nimba County Senator Samuel Koga has publicly declared his opposition to Vice President Jeremiah Kuhn, accusing him of allegedly dominating the county's political landscape. Speaking recently in Nimba, Senator Koga asserted that the vice president has been reduced to accounting figures, a situation he described as wrong and unacceptable. He further accused Vice President Kuhn of allegedly engaging in what in turn double standards, while noting that traditional Kuhn remains his son, whom he still respects. Senator Koga also criticized certain leaders within Nimba County for what he called out of sycophancy, claiming they remain silent in order to persevere their positions and political power. The Solidarity and Trust for a New Day condemned the killings of Matthew Moba by police, calling it cold-blooded and demanding R.G. Gregor Cummins prosecutions. Moba, reportedly mentally ill, was killed during a police response after relatives sought help. Video evidence shows officers using excessive force despite him posing little threat. Eyewitness alleged police shot Moba multiple times, injected him with a sedative while handcuffed, and later abandoned him. He died from wounds and poor treatment. Stan described the police report as cover-up and demanded an independent investigation to uncover the truth and hold all involved officers accountable. The group urged government reforms, including a mental health response unit, forensic police reviews, and the dismissal of R.G. Common for mishandling the tragic incident. The general coordinators of the Traditional Council of Nimba County, Melvin Doyle, has expressed deep frustration over comments allegedly made by Senator Samuel Koga. Senator Koga is accused of referring to local leaders as so-called chiefs, a remark that has sparked outrage within the Traditional Council. Speaking briefly following the peace dialogue, Doyle described the statement as disrespectful and ungrateful, recalling the council's rules in Senator Koga's rise to power. He stressed that the council's support for Senator Koga was purely based on traditions and community will, dismissing any notions of a godfather arrangement. Mossorado County District 3 Representative Suma Moba has called on House Speaker Richard Coon to prioritize the immediate needs for Liberians over long-term national development goal. Representative Moba commended the Speaker's recent opening statement for outlining national's aspiration, but argued that it placed too much emphasis on future plans while overlooking present issues such as unemployment, drug abuse, and economic hardship. He noted that although infrastructure development remains important, the daily struggle of citizens, including access to health care, education, and basic necessities, require urgent legislative attention. The lawmaker urged the inclusion of increased allocations in the 2026 national budget for the Ministry of Health and the University of Liberia to improve social services and education and access. Representative Mobile cautioned that failure to address these short-term challenges could erode public confidence, undermine lawmakers' re-election prospects, and weaken the Barker administration image of responsiveness and reform. Dr. Lester Turning, Vice Chair for Fiscal Affairs at the University of Liberia, has warned that Liberia's economy is under several strains, citing weak fiscal management and poor policy directions under the Barker administration. Speaking in Monrovia, Dr. Turning said the government has failed to address the nation's bread and butter issues, stressing that the hopes of ordinary Liberians are fading and rising poverty and unemployment, and criticized the appointment of accountants to head the Ministry of Finance and Central Bank of Liberia, arguing that such key economic institutions should be led by experienced economists. According to Dr. Tennant, managing the nation's economy requires sound planning, strategic investment, and decisive leadership, not prayer of guesswork. He warned that without meaningful reform, the government risks deepening public frustration. Dr. Tennant emphasized that true economic stability depends on creating real opportunities for citizens, urging the administration to prioritize sustainable growth and effective governance. 26 Liberian students have departed the country for the Kingdom of Morocco to pursue higher education on full scholarship. The opportunity secured under the government of Liberia's bilateral scholarship program is being coordinated by the Ministry of Education through its divisions of scholarship. According to the ministry, the beneficiaries will specialize in key national priority areas, including medicine, geology, engineering, computer science, tourism management, technical and vocational education and training. Official says the initiative aligns with the government human capital development bill under the arrest agenda, aimed at strengthening Liberia's workforce and expanding access to quality tertiary education. The Ministry of Education reaffirmed its commitment to ensuring that education remains a driver of national growth, innovations, and opportunity across all sectors. Deputy Commissioners of Police Federal Biako, officers in charge of the Liberia Drug Enforcement Agency, has urged Liberians to avoid politicizing the national fight against illicit drugs. DCP Biago said that politicizations will undermine national effort and slow progress in combating the growing drug crisis, emphasizing that the campaign requires unity and cooperation from all citizens regardless of political affiliation. He highlighted the importance of professionals to be protecting service in the fight against drugs, calling on law enforcement and the public to work together to dismantle drug trafficking networks and handled. According to LDO OIC, sustaining success in the anti-drug campaign depends on credible information from citizens and the same collective determinations that Liberia demonstrated during past public health emergency, such as Ebola and COVID-19. Topo Community Chairman Ligori Morris has expressed disappointment over what he calls Representative Edo Flomo failure to deliver on promises to provide a transformer for the community. Chairman Morris said despite the lawmaker public pledge, the commitment remains unfulfilled, leaving residents frustrated over the lack of progress in improving electricity supply, and explained that the absence of additional transformers continues to hinder effort to meet the community's growing demand for stable and reliable power. Morris also accused Representative Flomo of unengaging community leaders during elections period but allegedly ignoring them afterward. Commercial drivers at the Bond County's parking area in Raleigh, Painesville, are voicing their frustrations over the Ministry of Transport newly announced transportation fare. Speaking to our reporter Emmanuel Randolph, one of the drivers expressing strong disappointment in the government's recent decision to reduce fares, describing it as unfair and inconsiderate of the challenge drivers face daily. Randall expressed that the ministry should not only focus on lowering transportation fares, but also address broader issues affecting drivers, including the high cost of petroleum products, spare parts, and vehicle maintenance. He further noted that before implementing any reduction in transportation fare, the government must first consider the soaring prices of vehicles and fuel, which continues to make their work difficult. Meanwhile, many of the drivers at the parking area have vowed to continue engaging authorities until their concerns are properly addressed.
A reminder that you are listening to Fuga News World, 30 minutes of news presentation about Liberia, Africa, and our one world. Let's bring you a look at our top stories we are closely following. President Joseph Boakai calls for African unity and accountability at Lomé Peace Forum. Senator Koga Flam VP Combs accuses him of manipulating Nimba politics. Stand demand dismissal of IG Coleman over cold-blooded killing of mentally ill man. Traditional Council of Nima condemns Senator Koga for branding areas as so-called chiefs, and away from Liberia, youth-led protests rock Madagascar as unrest deepens. We're taking a short break. Upon our return, we bring you the actual voices of those making the news. Welcome back, thanks for joining us on this presentation. The General Coordinator of the Traditional Council of Nima County, Melvin Drew, has expressed strong frustration over remarks allegedly made by Samuel Koga referring to local elders as so-called chiefs. The comments have sparked outrage within the Traditional Council, with Drew describing the senator's statement as disrespectful and ungrateful. Speaking shortly after a peace dialogue, Drew reminded the public that the council played a key role in Koga's rise to power, stressing that his support was grounded in tradition and collective will of the community and not any so-called godfather influence. The voice of Melvin Drew, General Coordinator of Nema County Traditional Council, reacting to comments allegedly made by Senator Samuel Koga. Nema County Senator Samuel Koga has dismissed as posed growing rumors among local elders suggesting that he was installed, chosen by the influential figure rather than elected by the people. And Koga said that his election was based on the trust and confidence of Nema citizens who believe in his integrity and leadership ability, not political influence. The voice of Nema County Senator Samuel Koga speaking on the allegation that his election was influenced by powerful figures within the county. The officers in charge of the Liberia Drug Enforcement Agency, Federo Biagos, is a cultural Liberian against politicizing the national fight against drug, warning that doing so could undermine the country's collective progress. Biagos said the drug war requires unity and national commitment, not political division, stressing that I am not interested in your party. I want every Liberian to join the fight. Officers in charge of the Liberia Drug Enforcement Agency, Federo Biagos, speaking. Commercial driver at the Bone County parking area in Red Light, Painesville, is present frustration over the Ministry of Transport newly announced reduction in transportation fare. Speaking to our reporter, the spokesperson of the aggrieved commercial driver, Emmanuel Aranda, described the decision as unfair and inconsiderate, arguing that it fails to reflect the daily economic challenges faced by drivers. Aranda said that the ministry should not focus on cutting fare but also address the high cost of petroleum products, spare parts, and vehicle maintenance, which continue to burden transport operators. The voice of Emmanuel Randall, spokesperson of the aggrieved driver, there speaking. Topo Community Chairman Ligori Morris has expressed disappointment over what he calls representing the annual formal failure to deliver on the promise to provide a transformer for the community. Chairman Morris said that despite the lawmaker's public pledge, the commitment remains unfulfilled, leaving residents frustrated over the lack of progress in improving electricity supply. He explained that the absence of additional transformer continues to hinder the efforts to meet the community's growing demand for stable and reliable power. Morris also accused Representative Froman of only engaging community leaders during the election period, but allegedly ignored them afterward. Now why? Let's just bring you the voice of Chairman Ligori Zora Mori.
We have a major thing that costs more money to complain about, which is the transformer. And where in the transformer, we have over 15,000 horses in Togo community. We have only one transformer that the country. The Tuesday or Wednesday, you will get the country. And I collect people from Humphrey Island, our leaders, went at home. We sat down, he also enjoyed that. I was working time, I will come back, call you. You know, yeah, call, it's full right. I feel disappointed. I when the election community please call to the Honorable Baran to eat the money on two of the answer my call.
The voice of Chairman Ligori Zora Morish of Topo Community. A woman identified as Mercy Gate accused of giving birth to a pig in Dredu Grandida County has publicly denied the allegation. Speaking in a live interview, Mercy said she was shocked by the claim and overwhelmed by calls from worried family members about the story that went viral. She clarified that she is only 6 months pregnant and had not given birth, describing the rumor as false, misleading, and damaging to her reputation. Mercy appealed to the public to stop spreading the baseless story, saying it has caused her serious emotional distress and disappointment. We want to sincerely apologize. We cannot bring you the clip. This is a reminder that you are listening to Foca News World, 30 minutes of news presentation about Liberia or Africa holding our one war. Let's bring you a quick relook at top stories we are closely following on this newscast. President Boakai calls for unity and accountability at Lomé Peace Forum. Senator Samuel Koga slams VP Coon, accuses him of manipulating Nimbat's policies. Stand demanded basis of IG Coleman over cold-blooded killing of mentally ill man. Traditional Council of Nimbat condemns Senator Koga of branding areas as so-called chiefs. And away from Liberia, youth-led protests rock Madagascar as unrest deepen. We're taking a short break. Upon our return, we bring you our international news. Welcome back at 10:03. Joining us, Musa Sherif, zoom in with our international development.
A massive youth-led protest in Madagascar has entered a 10-week, triggering widespread unrest across the country. The demonstration, dominated by young people, were sparked by great frustrations over persistent electricity and water outages. The protest organizers, identified Ginzer, have accused President André Rajoelina's government of corruption and lack of transparency in national governance. The anti-government demonstrations continue to attract civil groups and trade unions, prompting authorities to impose nighttime curfews in the capitals and other major cities. According to UN Observer, at least 22 people have been killed since the protests began, with the death toll expected to rise in the coming hours. In response to the growing crisis, President Rajoelina has dismissed his prime ministers and appointed a new one in an apparent effort to calm tensions. However, protesters remain defiant, now demanding the resignation of President Rajoelina following their outraged rejections of government. National dialogues held on Wednesday.
This is how we come to the end of our newscast. But before leaving you, a recap of major stories we are closely following. President Joseph Boakai calls for African unity and accountability at Lomé Peace Forum. Senator Samuel Koga Slam Nimbat Vice President Jeremiah Cohn accuses him of manipulating Nimbat politics. Stan accuses Stan demanded basis of IG Coleman over cold-blooded killing of mentally ill man. Additional Council of Nimbat condemns Senator Koga for branding areas as so-called chief. And away from Liberia, youth-led protests rock Madagascar as unrest deepened. Musa Sherry brought to you the news bulletin. Dr. Robert Service controlled and coordinated all of our side. On behalf of our entire news crew, I present them. My name is Lyndon Toba. Good morning and thanks for listening.